everyone! Welcome back to another episode of Talking Toku, Boston and Bellingham's only podcast about Godzilla and Gamera and Ultraman and all of their kaiju friends. I am your host, David.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Siobhan, and I'm back.
Hi, Siobhan.
Woo!
Welcome back. I don't even know when you were last on. What were we? Oh, The Last War? Is that what it was?
It was The Last War.
Okay. I don't even know how
Large
long.
disaster things.
I don't know. How long ago was that? I don't know.
That was a while ago.
It was a while ago. It was a couple months.
Well, you needed a break from me.
I know.
You know.
The listeners did. They
Yes.
were like, this Siobhan person.
It's a lot.
Where does she get off?
No,
How
I know.
dare
I'm
she
a
come
lot.
on
It's
here?
a lot. I know.
It's okay though. We appreciate having you here.
Thank you.
That's the important thing, because ultimately we are the ones in charge of this podcast, and what we say goes. And if we want you on this show, Siobhan, you're gonna fucking be on this show, whether they like it or not.
I'm honored. I was in your top 4% of listeners.
You were, yeah. Spotify Wrapped. You were in the. Actually, hold on. Now that
I got to work harder though, because I
Now
need to
that
get
you
up in the
mention
1%. I need to
'cause
get up in the
think-
1%.
I think friend of the show Jacob also posted that he is.
You did.
Oh, he's in 14% though. He's in the top 14%. You're in the 4%. You're way better than Jacob.
Oh, good.
Sorry, Lingo.
Right on.
We know who's in the top 1%.
Is it Sam?
It is Sam.
Oh yeah, Sam.
There we go. So you're doing way better than Lingo. Sorry, Lingo.
That's crazy.
I love you, but
That's crazy. I had no idea.
but hey, anyone want to take a wild guess as to what the hell we're talking about today? I'm just gonna let that silence stretch. I'm gonna stretch that silence out for as long as it is comfortable, and maybe a little more. But hey, yeah, we're talking about Minus One. Big surprise. That's what literally everyone else is talking about. Because that's the newest, biggest, definitely the biggest thing that's come out. Obviously, Monarcher's airing, but we're only like halfway through. We're gonna cover that when it's done. Duh. Why would we cover it halfway through? That's a stupid plan. So, yeah, Minus One. Everyone's talking about it with good fucking reason. We're going to get into it, though. But we have some news, because we've been gone for 3 weeks because, we didn't... If we were to keep to our old schedule, this episode would be coming out next week, and that's, people have already talked about Minus One. It's come and gone. It may or may not be out of theaters at that point, because it's only in theaters until the end of this week. But I think Toho would be stupid if they did not extend the theatrical release, given how universally praised this movie has been so far. But so fingers crossed.
Yeah, there's a good chance it'll be extended.
I think so too. So, but again, we'll get into all that. We have some news to get into. Not a whole lot, but some big stuff. So I'll kick things off for us. It's only December, but we pretty much already know what the best kaiju movie of 2024 is going to be. Helmed by series director and Ultra series vet Kiyotaka Taguchi, Ultraman Blazer the movie Tokyo Kaiju Showdown is scheduled for release on February 23rd, 2024, a whopping 3 days before my birthday, and I think that's like the best birthday present I could ever ask for, is an Ultraman Blazer movie. Synopsis is... A wave of kaiju emerges from an industrial zone, prompting Captain... So I copied this straight from the press release, and the press release spelled Captain wrong, I've just noticed.
How did they spell it?
What?
Capitan.
Oh, I like that better.
I like it too, it's funny.
Aye, Capitan, like Captain Crunch.
Well, that's just like CAP''N.
I feel like I definitely have heard them say Capitan.
Maybe. But anyways, Captain Gento and the Special Kaiju Reaction Detachment... parentheses scarred, to engage in relentless battle. Yet despite their efforts, the endless kaiju attack continues. Suspecting a link to Necromass Corporation. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna finish this and then I'll comment on that. An advanced chemical company that researches kaiju carcasses, but it's spelled corcuses. A lot of
What is this?
They should have really have proofread this. And renowned chemist Dr. Mabuse at Necromass Corporations or company, I guess. I don't know. At Necromask Co.'s research facility, Dr. Mabase explains the development of the Damudoxin, a substance on the brink of achieving immortality. Meanwhile, alien Damuno, who claims themselves as the ruler of the universe, appears. Chaos ensues when Damudoxin leaks into the destroyed tanks, consuming samples of kaiju carcasses and giving rise to the giant Gongilgan, the demonic carcass. Set in Tokyo, the capital of Japan, Ultraman, Blazer, and Scarred clash in a showdown against the giant kaiju. That sounds metal as fuck. Holy shit.
It does.
But also, like...
Necromask Corporation?
Yeah,
Excuse me?
That's... If there was ever an evil corporation name, Necromask is going to be at the top of the list, man. Like,
you might as well have just named it Umbrella or something.
honestly, yeah. It very much feels like some Resident Evil bullshit. But hey, This sounds sick. I don't know if there's a trailer released. I didn't see. It is... I gathered all this news about like 20 minutes ago because you guys know how lazy I am with gathering the news. I'm very transparent about that. But
yeah, you are.
Yeah, this sounds cool though. I can't remember if the Decker movie was any good. Was the Decker movie good, Brian?
I mean, I remember having fun watching it, but I don't think it really changed the game for Decker.
Okay.
In general, like it was just kind of just more Decker.
I mean, that's kind of what the point of these movies are. They don't really, they're not really there to extend the stories. Just here's more.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I liked it. I remember liking the Decker movie.
Okay.
I remember feeling nothing about the Trigger movie.
Well, that's yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we don't talk much about Trigger here anymore. Well, we do to shit on it, but.
Oh, well.
But no, this sounds really, really cool. Like, the concept of a kaiju formed from a bunch of dead kaiju corpses, that's really fucking cool. I love that.
How big of a scree do you think Blazer is going to let out?
Oh, it might,
when he sees the big monster?
It might be the biggest. It might be the biggest.
Might be the biggest scree.
Well, I just remember now that you mentioned that, like, we haven't seen him use that like super scream that he used that one episode that like knocked back a bunch of jets and shit. We haven't seen him do that in a while. So I don't know.
Yeah, but that was him having a moment. That was him having an internal, an existential crisis. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it was just that was like. He was letting out some trauma or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
But yeah, this sounds really cool. I can't wait. There's no word as to whether it'll be available here because the press release said, like, stay tuned for news on an international release. But both the Trigger movie and the Decker movie were available to rent from the Ultraman website. So I can't imagine this will be any different. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's Ultraman. Speaking of movies,
I'm excited for it.
Speaking of movies, what else is happening, Brian?
Oh, all right. It came out, the trailer for the new Monkey.
Yeah,
it's here.
It's here.
It's here, all right. And I think it's a losing battle for me. I just can't find any interest in it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we got a trailer for Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire. I know we usually say the new Monkey, but
it's gonna be the new Monkey.
For the news sake, this one time I'll call it the new Empire. And it looks like a MonsterVerse movie is as much as I can say for it.
Yeah.
Siobhan, did you end up watching it? I sent it in the Discord. Siobhan.
I didn't watch it yet. I'm sorry. I did watch the Grand Theft Auto trailer. If that is any consolation.
You watched that, but not the Godzilla trailer.
Well, when you sent it, I was distracted, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to go watch it later, and then I forgot.
Okay.
But it doesn't sound like I'm really missing much, if I'm honest. It doesn't sound like I missed much.
Well, it depends. Well, here's the thing, though.
You don't sound excited about it.
I personally am not. Brian personally is not. But we don't know what your personal tastes are for Godzilla. You haven't seen enough to, like...
I guess that's true. All right, I'll watch it. I'll watch it right after this.
Okay, there we go. So,
right after this.
Yeah, it looks like a MonsterVerse movie. I think Brian and I have both kind of come to terms that, like... the MonsterVerse isn't quite for us anymore.
I just don't think we're in the demographic of people that they're making this for.
No.
Who is the demographic?
It's fine, but I've
like
come to
kids.
Terms with it.
Not really kids, but like
young teens.
Yeah.
Westerners.
Western.
All right.
Western teens and young adults specifically.
Yeah.
And I'm just I am sure we're in that demographic, but in terms of what we want from Godzilla, it's just not it.
Yeah. So here's and actually Jacob, friend of the show, Jacob, brought up a really good point when the trailer came out yesterday. He was like, "Oh, we have our, grounded, dark, bleak, serious take on Godzilla with Minus One. Here's the 70s era Showa stupid, popcorn goofy stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, I guess I can see that." But like, I don't know. If the MonsterVerse hadn't started off with Godzilla 2014, I probably would be more liable to enjoy this, but because it started on like that level of grounded and then just immediately skyrocketed to being that goofy, now I'm like, I wish it was better. Because again, we have Monarch going at the same time, and that's like very similar to the tone of Godzilla 2014 and Kong Skull Island. So like, there's a lot of tonal whiplash going on there. And yeah, it's like, and don't get me wrong, I don't want to not be excited for this because it's Godzilla. I like Godzilla. I want to be excited for a new Godzilla movie, but like this, it's not for me. It's very clearly not for me. I'll see it. Day one, I'll see it. We'll do a review for it, absolutely. But I already know it's not for me.
Yeah. I've actually done a bit of thinking about it with that comparison of people saying like, oh, it's like the old Showa movies and stuff. Like it's like, it's just like Showa movies, but like modernized. Like
I'm seeing a lot
American
of people
made.
specifically compare it to Megalon.
And like I understand that take, but also at the same time, those movies, they had the charm of being tokusatsu, and they were just so unique, and it was like watching wrestling. And yeah, they weren't serious, but there was a lot more aspects that were entertaining and stuff. But with the MonsterVerse movies, like, they still want you to take it seriously, but they also want to make a big dumb movie. Mm-hmm. And it is also movies that cost $200 to $300 million. So they don't have the same unique charm that the actual old Showa movies did.
Yeah, because
I understand it. I understand the comparison. Like, they are tonally, they're kind of going for the same thing, where they just want to be a big dumb goofy movie.
Yeah.
But sitting there and saying that they are a one-to-one, they're just not. And they're not gonna be.
What is the time period that this is supposed to be?
Modern, I think. Siobhan is currently watching
spaceships and shit.
Siobhan is currently watching
I'm very concerned because
right
I'm confused because there were dinosaurs and then there were spaceships.
Well, that's in the Hollow Earth.
Okay.
The Hollow Earth is kind of the big, like, central component to the MonsterVerse at this point.
What is?
So I don't want to like talk too much about it, but it's hard to because we still have to talk about Minus One.
Right.
But like, I'll just kind of briefly go over a couple of things. I don't love Godzilla's new look. It looks too much like Godzilla 2000.
I haven't seen what he looks like yet.
Oh, you will.
We're getting to it right now.
Yeah. Scar King, which is the titular new monkey, he looks cool.
I think I just saw him.
I'll admit that.
Mm-hmm. He's got look pretty cool. I'll say, yeah. But also, I kind of just like orangutans in general.
Oh, he doesn't really look anything like I expected him to look.
Yeah. It's very so.
This is a good point I wanted to make in Minus One.
Okay,
was because I really like how they made.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. And then the weird. So I don't know, Brian, if you've seen this, but apparently there's some very strange controversy going around about this trailer. People seem to have taken a lot of issue with Godzilla running.
Yeah,
I don't. Right there in that shot.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't like. Yeah. That just doesn't seem like Godzilla to me. I really like. Okay.
But here's the thing.
There's so many things I want to say.
People are like, "Oh, Godzilla doesn't run." It's like, okay, he does in multiple movies. We've seen him run in the Monsterverse. He ran straight at Ghidorah in King of the Monsters.
But he just doesn't look like Godzilla in this to me. Like that just looks like some new monster.
I agree. He does not look like Godzilla to me.
That doesn't feel like a Godzilla movie to me. That looks like a new dinosaur or something.
You may not, both of you may not like entirely get this comparison, but he looks like a unit in Warhammer, like Warhammer 2.
I don't get that.
The big lizard race. If that makes sense.
It doesn't, but I realized the other day what bugged me about the new design. And this is kind of weirdly specific. And I don't want to shit on Jared Krzyzewski, who designed Godzilla for this movie, because I love Jared Krzyzewski. He's a cool dude.
It's not that it looks bad.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't look bad. I don't know. But again, I like Jared Krzyzewski. He's a cool dude. He's the one who designed Mechagodzilla in both Ready Player One and Godzilla vs. Kong. But this Godzilla design, to me, looks way too much like. And I'm not saying that it was. I'm saying that I've seen pictures like this, exactly that looks like Godzilla in this movie. It looks exactly like the kind of Godzilla you get if you tell an AI program to generate a picture of Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's the exact same build.
But what if that's exactly what they did?
I hope not, because again, I really like Jared Krzyzewski. He's a really cool dude, and I like his work. I hope that's not the case. I don't think Jared would have done that because he's very staunch. He's an artist. He's very staunchly anti-AI.
It reminds me of like some of the dinosaurs that I saw in the that new Life movie on Netflix.
Life on Our Planet?
Yeah.
Oh, I just watched that.
Yeah, like some of the dinosaurs in that. It reminds me of some of them. The ones that are like the more. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't know.
I'll find a picture.
Okay. But
he just doesn't look like him.
No, yeah, it's an odd look. It's gonna take some getting used to.
I'm gonna go see it though.
Well, we'll go see it. Don't you worry. But yeah, I don't know. I like the fact that they're doing Son of Kong. Like that was rumored. But yeah, it's whatever.
That is cool. I didn't really see that coming actually.
Well, we talked about it. There were rumors. We talked about it on the show, Brian.
Yeah, but I still didn't really think it was gonna happen.
That's fair. But okay.
So I was proven wrong.
The new monkey.
Also, I did send a picture. I sent a picture of the lizard man if you want to see what I was thinking of.
So you did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can kind of see that.
Like, it just looks like a lizard man big unit to me.
Yeah, he looks more like a lizard, whereas I felt like in Minus One, he looked very, like, rocky and, like, crunchy.
Actually, you know what? One of the best, one of the best takes I heard from a review I watched was, like, in a lot of the like American Godzillas, he looks like a big lizard, but in like Minus One, he looks like a monster, not a big lizard,
and I like
just a monster.
His head is so round and like.
Well, the head more or less didn't change from the previous.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But all right, I feel we're talking too much about it. We still have one more news story, and then we got to get into Minus One.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Because we're on a bit of a time crunch today. But anyways, Brian... Oh, no, it's my turn. I've lost track of time.
Yeah, the one bullet for the new monkey trailer, it's literally just the new monkey trailer.
Yeah, that was the note I made, just the new monkey trailer, because I figured I didn't need to type something up for that. Anyways... Last news story. I miss the days where graphic novels were as big as they used to be. Or maybe they still are. I don't know. I don't really read enough comics in general to know for a fact. But hey, IDW is doing a new Godzilla graphic novel. Godzilla Monster Island Summer Camp, written by Rosie Knight with art by Oliver Ono, who have also worked together previously on the Batra issue of Godzilla Rivals, focuses on Manila. And I'm personally sold already just on that. As an aspiring cartoonist, Zelda has always dreamed of attending an art summer camp, and this year she finally gets to go. But when she arrives to Make It Summer Camp, she's horrified to see the easels and sketchboards have been replaced with dodgeball and calisthenics. I haven't read this before. I didn't read because this came out like a couple weeks ago. I didn't read the synopsis of this before. The camp is under new suspicious management that has turned into an extreme sports nightmare. Determined to salvage her summer, Zelda escapes to a secluded corner of the island. Here she can finally draw in peace, at least until she stumbles into a portal to a fantastic world. There she makes a connection with baby kaiju Minilla and discovers the beauty of these legendary creatures. However, all is not well on Monster Island. Great evils are stirring, and if Zelda can't protect their home, the kaiju will unleash their wrath on the world. Wow, I'm even more into this. Yeah, I'm way more into this now that I've actually read the synopsis. I was already into it just on the concept alone of a summer camp featuring Minilla, but now that I've read, now that I know the book's actually about, I'm like, okay, this sounds really cool.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm excited.
Do you think Gabra's gonna show up?
If you're doing a Minilla-centered story, you would be dumb not to. You have to include Gabra.
I hope they have Gabra, but he looks exactly the same as he did.
Oh, I mean, Minilla looks.
What? God, what movie was that? I forgot. What was the name?
Attack?
All Monsters Attack. That's right.
He was only in one movie.
No, I know, but I always get All Monsters Attack mixed up with Destroy All Monsters.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
They're very similar titles. You can't blame me.
Yeah, that's why most people still use the Godzilla's Revenge title, even when they're talking about the Japanese cut of the movie. But doesn't matter. I don't really see it either way. But yeah, so that drops in on August 12th of next year. Kind of a wait, but like whatever.
I'm sure it'll be good.
I'm sure it'll be good too. Yeah, and it's only $13. That's pretty good. Pretty good price.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, it's time.
Dun dun dun.
It's mine. It's as I told Josh when I texted him last night when we were going viewing number 2 for me. I texted him as I pulled up to his house. It's Zilla in time.
I like that.
So yeah, -1. Let's fucking go, guys. Where do we start?
10 out of 10. Or 5 out of 5.
11 out of 10.
Honestly, yeah.
I really don't. There's really not a whole lot I didn't like about it.
I'm honestly shocked. And I'm happy about it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm shocked how universally praised this movie has been, both from fans and non-fans. I don't know when the last time we had a movie or anything that was so universally welcomed by fans.
Well, yeah, I brought my boyfriend to see it, and he's never really liked anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, 2014, but even you said only for a little bit, really.
Yeah, well, even 2014, most people really liked it, but there were a couple people who were like, oh, this kind of sucked. This isn't at all what I wanted.
It was mind-blowing the entire time.
This one, all I've seen, the least, the worst reactions I've seen from fans have been like, it was good. I didn't love it, but it was good. I haven't seen any fans say it was bad, inherently bad.
I felt the same amount of excitement as I did when I watched Pacific Rim.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? I can
how
see
I
that.
felt when I was sitting there.
I can really see that.
Except I gotta say that this hit me more on emotional spots.
Oh, 100%.
Way more emotional spots.
100. This is probably. Hold on, I actually should get my notebook out. So
should we do non-spoilers first and then spoilers later, or what do you want to do?
Fuck it, let's just go right into we do this all the time, Brian. We always go right into spoilers.
Chances are, if you're a fan and you watch us, you've seen it.
You've probably seen the movie at this point.
Well, yeah, it's been enough time.
Yeah.
I feel like
even my mom and my dear sister have seen it.
And that's insane to me. That is wild to me that I saw you texting me that last night. I'm like, oh shit. I don't think I responded to the text itself, but
my mom, who has watched a lot of Godzilla with me, said that this is her favorite Godzilla movie. So
that's impressive.
That put a huge ass smile on my face.
I'm curious as to what my mom would think, because she's obviously watched a lot of Godzilla with me too, but I don't know. I'd have to try and get her to see it. I don't know when that would be, because it's not in theaters and for very longer. But we'll see. Anyways, what was I was getting my notebook out, and I don't remember what I was getting it for.
What do you want to start with?
I don't know. Were you getting it for your notes?
Well, yeah, but there was a specific note I wanted to go into, and I can't remember what it was.
Something about the overall reception?
No. I'm accepting that I won't remember what it is
All right,
until
well,
we
what
get
should we start with?
Oh, well.
I don't know. Fuck, I don't know. It feels weird. Like I think why are we having so much trouble starting this review of all
Favorite
things?
scene?
No, we can't do that
When
just
is
yet.
that?
That's like, I don't know, like halfway or near the end of the
Oh,
review.
okay.
That the favorite scene in the whole entire movie.
What about? Oh,
I think we should start with just a quick overview.
okay.
So I'll start.
You're usually the
movie follows failed, or I guess retired, kamikaze pilot Shikishima, and he is grappling with his guilt and, like, you know, his I guess his guilt for not carrying out his mission. And near the end of the war, he lands on an island, and him and the mechanics stationed on the island are attacked by a pre-nuke Godzilla, killing everybody except Shikishima and the chief mechanic, whose name is
Tachibana.
Tachibana, that's right. And
That's like the only
and
name
so
I
they
knew.
go back to Japan. Shikishima finds out that his home and his parents and basically everybody he knows has been killed in American bombings.
Except his neighbor.
Except his neighbor, who is very believably done with life.
Yeah.
and everything. I felt so bad for that woman. And then he runs into what's the woman's name again? I forgot. Noriko, and a orphaned baby. What was it again? I need to pull up
Starts with an
IMDb.
A, right?
Akiko.
Yeah, Akiko.
Akiko, that's right. Let me pull up the IMDb just so I have these names.
I'm glad I watched this again last. I would have remembered, I think, but still.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm just naturally bad with names. Everybody who knows me knows
fair,
this.
yeah. But I'll kind of
Okay.
pick things up. I do, we're talking about a lot of the characters so far, and
This is a very, very character heavy movie.
it is. It might be the most
And it's
character-driven film in the franchise, probably since the original. I keep seeing people draw comparisons to this film with GMK, with good reason. I mean, Takashi Yamazaki, the director, straight up said, like, yes, that's one of my favorite movies in this series. That had a lot of influence on this film. But like, even then, like, I don't think GMK is quite as character driven as this. It's much more like thematically driven than character driven.
I felt like everyone in this film needed to be there.
Yes,
like, because
100%.
like, I mean, even when we were
There was
talking
no
about like
waste
Meg 2, there
with
were so many people that we
humans.
were like, you didn't need to exist in this film, but you're here, I guess.
I did not think in my whole life I would, even in positive or negative light, I don't think I ever would have expected to compare Godzilla Minus One to Meg 2, The Trench.
Oh.
Listen, it is the most recent other kaiju film
I know
that I have seen. So
it's just very funny to me.
Well, no, I'm not even. Well, okay. Well, you have to remember that I am a noob to this world. So I'm giving you a noob point of view.
Fair enough.
And all I'm saying is that I saw that kaiju movie, and there were so many characters in it that I was just like, you don't exist for any reason.
100%. It was just
Even like the there's just minor people that I
it's
was
like
like,
that.
you're
Was it like
carrying this movie?
r/brand new sentence or something on Reddit, where it's like just people talking about the most out of pocket shit. Not that that's out of pocket. It's just very funny. Anyways, very extremely character driven. I think a friend of the show, Donnie Winter, it wasn't like a full review, it was just like a reaction video that he made like right when he got home. He called it beautifully human, which is like right on the money. Like, again, it's yeah.
I like
that's what I was looking for. Very human right from the get-go. There it is. We've come full circle. Thank God.
No, I liked when Ted called it the Schindler's List of Godzilla movies.
I actually have not seen Schindler's List, but I'm assuming that's accurate.
David, now I get to show you something.
I know.
This never happens.
Oh, Dave, you get to feel real bad.
Ooh, yeah.
Yay.
It's going to be sad. We'll get emotional together. It'll be great.
Let's do it.
All
Okay.
right.
But yeah, so Shikishima and Noriko meet. They kind of get together, but not like really, not until later. Spoilers. They're living together. Shikishima gets a job. He's working on a boat with some pals, blowing up mines left over from the war.
Hold on, you're forgetting the absolute best boat captain ever.
Oh my god,
Akitsu. I love that man.
The best. He is probably my favorite character in the movie.
No, dude, I literally day one, as soon as he showed up and like a few scenes in, I just like when I like leaned over to Sam and said, he's my favorite character. And it never changed the entire movie. He was always my favorite.
He's the best. And he
is the most like tough guy anime voice ever.
Yep.
It's great.
Yep.
It really is. And honestly, that he's a big part of one of the other notes I made in that this again, I mentioned it. And everyone who's seen it knows this is a very bleak and depressing movie. But for such a bleak and depressing movie, it's got a surprisingly decent sense of humor, and most of it comes from Akitsu. Like the part that I think my whole theater laughed at this is when they get sent out to stall for time for the Takao to show up and kill Godzilla.
Oh, yep.
You know, he's like, oh yeah, we'll be fine. We can take care of this thing. Godzilla immediately comes up, destroys the other boat. He goes, okay, never mind, and he starts trying to leave immediately. Like that was such
he was
perfect
the comic relief it needed.
comedic timing.
A little spoiler, but that was up to that point. That was Sam's favorite scene in the whole movie.
Up to that point,
she laughed and told me that that was her favorite scene so far.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, until another thing happened. I'll say later.
All right. Yeah, and he more or less keeps with that like almost joviality. Of course, obviously there's a couple scenes later on that where he's like more somber, but like he's more or less that upbeat throughout the whole movie. Like at the very climax, he's like really happy to see Mizushima when because he's like, oh, you stay back, you keep living your life, but. Yeah, no, I don't know. Akitsu like really stood out to me, and I haven't really seen many other people like shouting him out. Like everyone's talking about Shikishima and Noriko with obviously good reason because they're also great, well-written characters. But like Akitsu's not getting enough love, man. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, like I thought that the whole boat crew was like such a great. Like a great
dynamic.
I mean, they were all kind of like a break from Shikishima's trauma. Like whenever he was with his boat crew, you were like, he's gonna be okay. Like he's happy and like he's supported by like he has friends and shit.
I know it's early.
And then
it's early for me to say this but that's what I was gonna tell you was my favorite scene was like when they all started like actually getting along in the boat and like before they didn't know he was a kamikaze pilot right away, right? They found out later.
Yeah, he tells them like when
that initial that initial scene when like he took over like shooting the mines and then like they did all the clips of them like on the boat like that was mine.
They have such insanely good chemistry.
The growth
together.
of that friendship between all of them was like my favorite thing.
Good.
Like I really loved the I think it was like the first scene of them when they first met and they were on the boat and the younger guy with them who didn't go to war, he was like, oh man, if only I was sent off to war, if only it lasted a bit longer. And he was like, don't say that. Yeah. And then Akitsu was like, dumbass.
He just like smacks him. He's like, you idiot.
It's like that could have been like a very like could have been a very like emotional like traumatic thing for him, but like instead the captain made it like comedic. Like he added a little bit of levity to that, even though like that Koichi is like like traumatized by the war and everything that happened, and obviously grappling with how he failed at his job.
Okay, wait. This is something I wanted to like bring up. So like he more. I felt like. More than the fact that he was a failed kamikaze pilot, he was more upset about the fact that he was like they blamed him for those mechanics dying on the island.
It was a mix. It's a mixture of both for sure.
Okay, but my point
I think
with that,
they were both.
I don't
both
think
things
he
were
needed,
tied together.
I know, but like that felt pointless to me most of the movie. Every time they brought that up and he was like looking at the photos of them and everything, that didn't hit me hard, only because I was like, if he went through to be like went as a kamikaze pilot like he was supposed to and like died, he wouldn't have been there to save them anyway. Godzilla still would have showed up on that
That's
island.
True. But because
like, they
he
all would
was
have died.
there and he didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah, but clearly that thing wasn't going to kill him anyway.
But
why were they
know
still
that.
No, but
they
even later,
that.
Later they were still holding it. That guy
can I
was
give
still
a little bit of
Tachibana was still holding that against him even later in the movie after they realized that like how many weapons were like ineffective. So I'm just like,
but the thing is, Tachibana didn't know that Godzilla was the same one who attacked Ginza until Shikishima told him.
Still, I don't know. I just felt like he had so much weight. He was putting so much weight on himself for that, and it was like realistically, like there was nothing he could have done.
Can you blame him?
And he knew. No, but he knew though. He knew for a fact that none of those weapons would have stopped him. So he knew.
But it's still the fact that he didn't try. That's what I think is eating him
I
up.
think with that, like him not shooting Godzilla, it's very. You could very much draw a parallel to the actual job of being a kamikaze pilot in general.
Yeah.
Because being a kamikaze pilot, you fly your plane directly into ships in a suicide act.
Yeah.
And essentially what Tachibana was asking him to do was the same exact thing, which is go to your plane and shoot the monster, and you're probably going to die. And you're probably not going to move the needle of whatever's happening right now. Because kamikaze pilots were a reaction to the Japanese losing the war.
Well,
and
also,
him going over to the plane and shooting Godzilla and failing just would have been a reaction to them not being able to do anything anyways.
No, the other thing, though, was that those guys may not have died had they not drawn attention to themselves by shooting at Godzilla with their little tiny guns. Okay? Because
you say that, but also just think about it, like...
He didn't go after... What's his name? The pilot.
Shikishima.
Shikishima. What's his first name?
Koichi.
Sorry. You're so funny, David. Siobhan doesn't know how to say the name.
For context, Siobhan did ask me how to say the name before.
I'm doing my best, okay? I'm doing my best.
Go on.
No, like they were being idiots. They didn't need why did they start shooting at him with their little guns? They didn't need to do that. That was pointless. They drew attention to themselves, and then they made it worse. And that guy and Tachibana. I'm sorry.
Tachibana. Yes. That was, me nodding silently was your confirmation to keep going and not draw attention to it.
I forgot what I was saying. Oh God.
Well,
you know what I'm saying.
I do. I think though.
I just felt like they weighed on that too much. The movie was exactly how I wanted it to be. I'm not waiting to change anything. I just felt like if I were him, eventually, after knowing everything I knew, I wouldn't have still been holding on to that. I felt like his character like held on to that way longer than he should have. Realistically.
I mean, you also have to remember that Japanese like their culture is very different from ours, especially back then with their like Bushido culture. Like people carried very heavy burdens and shit, and they were indebted to people.
Well, right. No, I mean, I think him carrying the burden of not following through on his kamikaze position made sense why he didn't felt bad. But I think later on, when he also kept feeling bad for those men, I was like, I wouldn't.
Well, that's something I liked about the camaraderie between him and the boat crew, is that they didn't care.
No,
I think the only time they brought up his past as a kamikaze pilot after he told them was at the very, very end of not the very end, but at the climax of the movie where Akitsu's like, oh, I don't like this. Shikishima's a failed kamikaze pilot. He's in a plane fighting Godzilla. I don't like where this is going. That's the only time they bring it up, I'm pretty sure. They don't mention it at all afterwards.
No, you're right.
So
it doesn't really seem like it holds much weight over their opinion of him.
Yeah, which is good. That's good.
Yeah,
It's a subtle detail, I think, but it's it speaks volumes to their their how they view Koichi as a human being. Like basically his self-worth. Or not, I don't know. Yeah. I can't think of like exactly how to word it, but you guys understand what I'm going for, I think. I hope.
I think I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I think I do. Yeah.
But hey, speaking of that opening scene though, holy shit, it's fucking scary.
Yeah, one of the first things that I said to you was this was the first time I've ever been jump scared by fucking Godzilla.
And so, I don't know, Siobhan, did you see it in IMAX or anything?
No, I saw it in a regular theater, like a regular ass theater.
So I saw it in IMAX. Brian saw it in a kind of IMAX-C setting.
No, I saw it in
I saw it in RPX, but
bum
we were really
ass,
close
like,
to the screen.
Terrible seats theater, and it was still mind blowing.
So those who saw it in IMAX and other weird fancy formats, this is a loud fucking movie.
It was loud and normal. I'm telling you.
I know.
So loud.
I have tinnitus. My ears were ringing more so than usual after this movie, but like every time Godzilla roared, it was deafening. Which I guess Brian, you mentioned this when we were talking about it the day after. Like it gets kind of fitting. You know, it's immersive.
It was really immersive.
I loved it. You felt it through you. It went through your body.
Yeah, but no, that opening scene, I think that's probably the closest we've gotten to Godzilla going full-on horror in this franchise, because it's I feel like it's the first time, well, no, not the first time, because GMK he did. So even like before getting irradiated, he's fucking mean. Like he's like actively killing people. It's not like collateral damage like it typically is in these movies. He is actively going after and killing people. He's stomping on them.
Right from the beginning of that first scene, he was just like throwing them around with his mouth like a.
Yeah, he didn't even eat them. He just picked them up with his mouth.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Wait, so does Godzilla? He grows throughout the movie, right? Don't they say that he was bigger?
Well, that's after he got irradiated. Yeah.
Okay.
He got nuked.
Now, does he ever consume anything? Like, does it? Because I haven't seen really a lot of other Godzillas. Yeah, go ahead. For anyone new listening like me.
Essentially,
it's probably just me. That's
fine. This is kind of like how I just assume he works all the time. But Godzilla, he's basically just a shielded nuclear reactor. Like the nuclear like he is a bionuclear reactor inside of him.
That's what the ray is.
And his skin is as thick as it is to keep it inside, and his beam is essentially just a release of gases and other stuff and radioactive materials. So he's a walking fission reactor, and because he's a walking fission reactor, he never needs to like eat food or drink water, because that's where all of his energy comes from.
So he does destroy.
Like, consume, quote unquote, like we see in movies like Return of Godzilla, Godzilla 2000, and Godzilla vs. Megaguirus. He will go after typically nuclear power sources.
Oh, and he eats like
he just like absorbs the nuclear energy into his body.
Like eat the radioactive isotopes and stuff.
But that's the thing, the fact that he even has like the teeth and the mouth
probably
he's
does
made to
have
just
like
chew
some
up
sort
and
of
break
digestion
shit.
system, I'm sure, but it's not really.
Well, that's what makes him scary, though. Is like it's not like he's swallowing you; he's literally just there to rip you apart.
Yeah.
I assume that pre-nuke he probably had a regular diet.
Yeah.
And then post-nuke it was probably this is when he became the fission reactor.
He was like, "Oh, good, I don't need this shit anymore."
Yeah. Like, because maybe it was like I don't know. I watched the Weekly Planet podcast, and they kind of said something that made sense. Where it was like maybe he was like a shark, and he bit them, and then realized he didn't like how it tasted, but he still wanted to kill them. You know?
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Were we going through the overview of the plot?
I
just remember.
I don't even.
No, it's
Brian,
fine. We're in deep now.
We always do this. We do this all the time. Every episode.
Anyways, Godzilla gets nuked. He gets big. He attacks Ginza. Some shit happens, and then people try to kill him.
And then the movie's over. There we go.
People try to kill him.
End of the episode. We did it, guys. We reviewed Minus One.
You know, I will say though that the way that they decided to kill Godzilla in this movie was very unique.
I had actually, when I first watched it, I had some trouble visualizing exactly what they were going to, like, they were explaining it and they used visual cues to like explain what they were doing.
You mean to like dunk him down and bring him back up? You had trouble with that?
Well, because like, not that part, but like getting him in that position, like with the boats. I'm like, how are they going to get him to stay?
Sense to me.
No, but to me, it was like, how are they going to get him to stay in one spot long enough to do that?
Well, they distracted him with the pilot.
I know that, but it just when I first saw it, I was like, how are they going to accomplish this? I was just at that.
Well, I also think at that point it was like, what else are they going to do? They had to try something. Yeah. I think that's what that guy's whole point was. He was like, this is really the only thing we can think of. Mm-hmm. So
right. But no, it was a very, very unique way of dealing with Godzilla.
Yeah.
No, we don't. It's kind of similar. Well, no, it's not similar, but like. So obviously, everyone who's seen the film at this point has gone into this, that this is very, very similar tonally and pacing and just in general similar to the 1954 film. And I told me and Brian's former boss about this, that it's probably the closest thing we're going to get to a full remake of the 1954 original. And their plan to finish Godzilla felt very similar to how they dealt with him in that movie as well. To me, just staging wise, I guess would be the best way to word it.
I thought it was very accurate how the government was like, let's not tell anyone.
Yeah, pretty much.
I was like, oh yeah, this is realistic.
Yeah, I actually really liked all the just not even like the government, like the realistic response from the government, but like just kind of like the very realistic restrictions placed on Japan in this movie. They were all very rooted in reality, and I think it was a really good.
I think that's what made it more scary, is how accurate it felt, like realistic it felt.
I just think that the time period, it's so perfect for this kind of movie and making it as tense and scary as possible and as hopeless as possible, because they're fighting him with 40s era weaponry, and it's also in a country that was just entirely demilitarized, and trying to rearm themselves to fight this one thing would look really bad to the Americans and to the Soviets. And like they even kind of said that, we're like, oh, the Americans don't want to help us because it would look bad to the Soviets.
Yeah, and they were like,
and also we don't want to rearm ourselves because it will look bad to the Americans.
Yeah.
And like basically you get like the fuck you, you're on your own from Douglas MacArthur saying like, the Japanese people should find a way how to deal with this themselves. Like, how very American of a response.
It is. It very much is.
Like I saw that and I just like, I'm like, wow, we really haven't changed very much. Yeah.
Leave it to Japan to bring up a mirror in front of our faces.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I really like it.
So do I, for sure.
Did you guys notice, like, in a lot of the naval scenes, that their destroyers that they were using, they had the gun turrets there, but the barrels were all missing?
Oh, I did not notice that. No,
I didn't.
That is exactly what happened. They were like, either they were given to Allied powers, or they were observed by the Americans to be disarmed.
Well, it looks like I gotta go see the movie again.
Me too,
if you look at it, you can see the turrets, and then there's going to be like two white like strips of like, I guess, some kind of cloth or some tarp or something, and that's where the turrets, like the actual gun barrels, were.
Gotcha.
Well, I told you this.
And I was specifically looking for it too, because I was like, if they're accurate with this, then that's where they're going to be.
That's true.
Oh, you know what? Continue on. I gotta look something up.
Okay. You sounded like you were going to say something, Siobhan, just a second ago.
Oh, well, I don't know. I felt like it was kind of pointless, but I was just going to say, like, this is part of why I felt like the same as I did in Pacific Rim because I felt like I need to go see it again because there was just so much happening all the time, and it's like there's so much to pay attention to that I was just like I didn't even notice that.
Well, we can talk about some of like the just objectively cool shit, not any of like the deeper, thematic stuff that we've been talking about, but like the boat scene.
Which boat scene?
The boat chase.
Oh yes, yes.
When he first shows up. Just masterclass of monster movie filmmaking. Obviously, there's so much Jaws wankery in that scene, and I'm here for it. Like it's such a great.
Are you talking about when he was chasing the little boat of the three of them on it? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
His face
absolutely
there.
love that scene.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people just gush about that scene. They're like, yeah, this is one of the best, like the coolest scenes in the entire franchise. 37 movies on.
Honestly, like this movie, one of the biggest surprises for me is like in the past with Godzilla movies, we get a lot of scenes of him in the ocean and stuff, and kind of, but it's usually just showing him travel. We don't get a lot of ocean combat scenes.
That's true.
That scene had me on edge the most. The fact that we got
so many in this movie and they were done so well was a huge surprise to me because they decided to take Godzilla on his home territory, where he is the most maneuverable,
which is interesting because like I thought visually at least. Everything looked a lot better when he was at sea than he was on land. Yeah.
Well, he was way more stiff on land, but that's why when you were talking about the Godzilla and Kong, like the way I saw him moving in that trailer, like I didn't enjoy that.
Right.
I feel like it's more scary and more suspenseful.
No,
the fact that he's moving slower and he's so stiff because you're just like, oh my god.
But.
Well, the thing that's like scariest about it is like when he's on land, he's slow, but he's so big, it's just still hard to run from him because he just covers so much area.
Chunky, pot belly look. Thick. I just love it though. Like oh god, that's so
his
classic monster
huge.
To me. Yeah.
He's got some
watching
big
him
feet.
step on people was just like
he got some big feet. He could charge money for those.
I noticed on my second viewing. During the Ginza attack, when he's walking, you literally see people being launched up into the air with the sheer force of his footsteps.
Like when he hits in it.
Yes,
I noticed that on my second watch. That shit was horrifying.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ, that's ridiculous. But I do want to mention because I haven't seen many people talk about this either. Back on the boat scene, when they blow up the mine in his mouth and we see him
it grows back,
like immediately heal. We've never really seen his healing factor work. Like obviously in Godzilla 2000 they go into it, the Organizer G1, but we don't see it actually happening in real time.
That reminded me of something.
It's very hard to visualize it when he's a suit.
I have to remember.
Give
me a second.
You have to do CG on top of the suit, and it's just kind of it looks. So they tried to show it in Godzilla 2000 by under the microscope and stuff, but you never really you're never really able to translate it directly to Godzilla,
right? And the fact, it's a really nice touch that it doesn't grow back like perfectly, like it's just scar tissue,
right?
Like it's all white and just gross. That was a really cool touch. I'm glad they didn't do it like perfectly.
That's what I
You want to know
what
my favorite?
He was so fucked up.
I mean, I noticed it first in the boat scene, but like my favorite aspect of his design, his piercing fucking eyes.
Oh, he's
like they just stare right through you.
Yeah,
just absolutely filled with rage. His eyes. Jesus Christ.
Well, that's what's so stressful about the scene.
I really liked Shin Godzilla's eyes and how they're kind of just a blank stare,
dead and soulless.
But there is something else about Godzilla seeing you and wanting to kill you.
I don't think we've ever really seen him this angry before. Again, GMK kind of, but like he's very, very expressive, and the only expression he ever has in this movie is pure unadulterated rage. It's terrifying. I love it.
Really scary.
Especially after that scene in the boat where they blow up his face and he heals, he looks at them and then he rears up to like not stand up because he's still in the water, but like that, you're like, oh fuck, he's mad. These guys are not gonna survive this. But then the Tako comes and
I honestly thought
I want to talk about the Toho scene because that is probably my favorite scene in this whole movie. There is something about just Shikishima and everybody else on the wooden boat just elated to see the Toho and then immediately realize what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, they don't even realize what's going to happen, though.
Shikishima's the one who does. He's like, oh no. Like, as soon as Godzilla swims over there and he's on top of the boat, you just see everybody's face turn.
Yeah.
And like when he dives down below and you just see the blue glow, and it's just like the score along with that, and then you just see this absolutely insane nuke explosion.
All right, Brian.
Every time he was underwater, that was when he swims under the boat. That's what gave me like
Brian,
big shark vibes.
You fucking opened the floodgates now. You mentioned the score. The
music was crazy.
It's over now.
Godzilla score in the longest time. It's so good. It's so unreasonably good. I can't believe it.
So, okay, as you all know, for those of you who listen to this show, you know that the music in these movies is one of our favorite aspects. And let me believe me when I say, this is probably one of if not my favorite score in all the franchise. It's not like the big bombastic stuff like Ifukube, even there are some Ifukube score motifs in here, obviously, which I'm going to talk about that in a second too. But Naoki Sato, I've never heard anything by Naoki Sato, but we went over the fact that he works with Takashi Yamazaki in a lot of his films. This is I listened to it when I got home after the first viewing, and immediately I was like, oh my god. And it's a very stressful score to listen to, and I sent you the track, Brian. When I rewatched it the second time, I'm like, okay, it's the track from the boat chase scene where it just sounds like an air raid siren through all 3 minutes of its runtime.
It's an extended. It's a very extended air raid siren.
Yeah, just 3 minutes. It's a 3 minute long air raid siren. It's so stressful to listen to. But even after that, everything else, like his theme, his new theme, which is Divine, I believe it's called in the soundtrack.
Yeah,
which is what you hear in the trailer.
That's played during the Toho scene.
Yes, and they reuse the motif a lot too in the rest of the movie. But oh my god, Naoki Sato, I gotta start paying attention to his work, man. It's insane how good this score is.
I just love how it's like the score when it is played with a Godzilla scene, like the Toho scene or Ginza. It is both like it helps build spectacle, but it's also like it's stressful to listen to. You're like, bad shit is happening right now, but this looks incredible. And like the music, it's like it like helps build what you're seeing, like more than any other score I've really seen in a while. It really kind of brings that like, is he a god kind of question into it,
Yeah,
like just the track being called Divine is,
Yeah, exactly. The only thing I didn't love about the score was they only use it twice in the movie, technically 3 times, but the other one's in the credits, so I don't really count it. But I wish they didn't really use the Ifukube motif in the Ginza attack, because that one especially felt a little tonally inappropriate, because like it's the Godzilla theme. Everyone loves the Godzilla theme, but like this is bad what we're seeing happen on screen. We don't want to root for Godzilla right now. This is like horrifying to witness, and it just feels like the da 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 da. Like that just feels a little tonally inconsistent.
Well, no, because I mean that's part of Godzilla. I feel like that made sense only because like that's Godzilla. Like you have to accept him as that. That's what he is. He destroys everything. It doesn't matter if he's
reused Sato's own theme, the Divine theme, which they did later on.
But maybe they're doing that on purpose. Like maybe they're trying to make you realize. Like
I don't know. It just felt weird. I liked when they used the theme later at sea when they're during Operation Watatsumi, because they use the march from the original film, which.
And it seems like they updated it a little bit too.
So actually, no, they did not. I learned.
Really?
Yeah. So
I have no idea.
Let me tell you, my buddy John DeSantis, who I don't know if you remember, Brian. He's the one who conducted Kaiju Crescendo at G-Fest when we went.
Oh yeah. I remember. That was good. That was a great time.
A video after the movie came out, so Symphonic Fantasia was a concert that I don't remember if Akira Ifukube conducted it, but he definitely arranged it. It was just a concert with a bunch of his movie score themes arranged into a couple, like I think 3 or 4 different 20-minute pieces. And so John uploaded a video of side by side the Godzilla suites from the -1 score and the Symphonic Fantasia stuff side by side. It is exactly the same, to the point where he's and again he's like a composer, so I trust his judgment on this. And this happens in movies in general. Like people, filmmakers will use temp scores when they're making the movie to fill it in later. It seemed like they didn't. They told Sato, do this exactly. Don't change anything. Just exactly as it is. Just do your own. Do it how it sounds on this. It's the tempo is like a little bit off, but barely. Like you need to be able to listen, have headphones on, because like the one like it's in 2 different audio channels. So like the -1 score is on the left ear, Symphonic Fantasia is on the right. It's very strange. I don't know why they did that. I don't know. But again, I like the fact that they used the march in Operation Watatsumi, because, fun fact for anyone who doesn't know, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, that's not Godzilla's theme. Well, it is now, but it wasn't Godzilla's theme back then. That was the JSDF's theme in the original movie. That's why between the original Godzilla and Terror of Mechagodzilla, we never heard that theme again until Terror of Mechagodzilla, when Ifukube was like, okay, I'm going to make this Godzilla's theme now. So bringing that march back to use for its original intended purpose, I thought that was a really fun touch. That felt more appropriate in the film, I thought. And I haven't really seen many other people talking about that, but that's just me. I don't know.
I mean, I noticed it, but I also disagree with you on the use of his theme at the Ginza attack.
Okay.
I actually found it fitting. But also because I think about what I'm seeing before what I'm hearing.
Okay.
So if I already know that Godzilla is a bad dude, then I'm going to see it as him being a bad dude. And I'm not really going to be thrown off by the music.
Well, but also as somebody who is newer and didn't know, I didn't recognize that as that, but I still, when I watched that, I felt like that music was fitting to that scene.
Yeah. Because, at the end of the day, I do think that his theme is very...
It's destruction.
It sounds mean.
It's destruction no matter what it is.
Just, I think I would have been a little more, welcoming to it if it hadn't been Symphonic Fantasia exactly. Because, we'll compare
this, an adaptation of it.
Yes. Well, I'll compare this to King of the Monsters, which uses a lot of Ifukube themes. Bear McCreary, I love Bear McCreary, and we've talked to death about his score on this show too. He at least did something. He put his own spin on the Godzilla theme. Naoki Sato didn't really do, and I don't know if that was a Toho thing. They told him to do it exactly, but I wish he would have put his own spin on the theme rather than just adapt it 1-to-1. I think I would have
wanted that too, but I do think that the end result, I really didn't mind it.
Any scene that was meant to be emotional made me tear up.
Oh yeah,
I mean the music was
that poor kid. I cried both times for that poor kid.
Yeah.
So when I saw it the first night, the Wednesday night fan event, in the scene where Tachibana is explaining to Shikishima how the plane works, there was a kid sitting right behind me. I heard him audibly sobbing.
Really?
During that scene.
Okay, no, the part that really made me cry was when he sees her in the hospital and he starts sobbing. Him sobbing, he was so into that. The actor, I was
the cast in this movie is insane.
Even the extras, the people in the background, when you're watching people in the background and the expression, everything. I was
especially
oh my god,
Rinosuke Kamiki as Shikishima, he was incredible. And I'm gonna use this as a pivot into my favorite scene in the whole entire movie. We're getting into it. I'll come to you next, Brian.
I want to add something on about
go for it.
Just real quick about Kamiki's acting for Shikishima. I was talking with Sam a lot about it, and like the thing that we kind of like agreed on like really heavily was that like he is really, really good at playing someone who is like utterly traumatized.
Mm-hmm. And the way he plays everything.
It is so raw and realistic. Like I feel like in a lot of Hollywood movies we get like the very kind of generic like I'm sad and I'm gonna cry a lot, but like Shikishima's like grabbing his face, like he's grappling with reality. Like he's on top of Noriko, just trying to figure out if he's even alive still. And like that shit was like really raw and like hard to watch, but it was really like very realistic.
The nightmares and like the night terrors that he had, I like was like spot on for those, because I actually have a lot of people in my life who have those, and like I've experienced like seeing them real life happening, and I'm just like when he was doing that on screen, I was like, holy shit, like he's playing this it's almost as if maybe he has them in real life, the way he was playing it so well. It was so like
it really felt like probably
it was painful to watch.
The best,
it was painful to watch,
like representation of PTSD in any kaiju film. Gamera 3 does it really well too. Yeah, like Ayana has major PTSD in Gamera 3 because her parents died during the events of Guardian of the Universe. But like, Koichi in this film, it's on a whole nother level. He's really, really bad mentally.
Yeah.
Well, that's why his redemption felt so strong.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go.
I was just saying that like I think that his relationship with Noriko is like really like very realistic. Like if people have a huge burden, like people sometimes cannot move on from it, and they can't have relationships with people until they do.
Yeah.
And I think that he acted that so well, and hit how distant he was from Noriko and Akiko. I thought it was so, it felt like he was a terrible person, but like I understood because he was so traumatized.
He still always did like the honorable thing. I mean, when it came to them, at least.
He couldn't allow himself to become close with them because he was just so traumatized from the past and how he let the people die and how he failed his country and shit.
I loved her character though, because like she understood that. There was never a time where she made him feel guilty.
There we go. Now
for what he was going through.
I'm going into my favorite
scene
in
the
the
whole
whole entire movie.
Go.
That is why his confession to Noriko is my favorite scene in the whole entire movie, because it's so raw, it's so emotional, and it's so well acted. It is
She
insane.
was so patient. Yeah. Him, oh my God.
When he opens it just saying like, I am a person, and then he just stops and like thinks about what he's saying, I'm just like, oh my God. Like it was so hard. Like I got swept up in it.
I can't even. And again, I understand that people, that as human beings who consume media, we are very susceptible to recency bias. But like I think that might be probably the best acted scene in the 70-year history of this franchise.
Really?
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, like, look at it this way. Like, usually recency bias, like, I feel like it's more towards, with the MonsterVerse stuff, we were just like, oh my God, like, it was so cool. The big monsters hit each other. We were never really like, oh my God, the characters were cool.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, in this movie, I feel like mostly everybody is talking about just how good the characters are. Like, obviously, people really digged all the Godzilla stuff. But I think everyone's huge surprise was just how well acted and how good the story and humans were.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the biggest fan reaction I've seen.
How young? What was the age supposed to be of the child?
Like the actual child character or the actor?
Both.
I mean, she was
I would like to know both.
Well, so she was an infant when we first meet her.
But I mean, when she's like older and she's interacting with them.
I think she's only 2, because again, she's an infant, and then
she's
2
only
years
2, right?
pass.
Okay, and then do you know how old the actual actor was?
I
just felt like that kid acted so well for the age.
For how young she was?
I was like, oh my gosh, they're not just like cutting to scenes to make it look like she's like she was just like she didn't make it seem like she was scripted to do something. You know what I mean? Like it was more of it seemed very reaction.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know.
That was a note I had. I would fucking give my life for Akiko.
Oh yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
I would give my life for her.
No, yeah.
She is adorable.
The biggest thing that made me really upset for her was just like she had no idea what was going on.
No.
All she knew is that something bad was happening.
The entire movie.
Like you could draw that comparison to war in general. Like the people who are hurt the most in war are civilians and women and children.
Yep.
And children are orphaned. Women lose their children. Families are destroyed.
Well, no, she was basically orphaned like 4 times. In a way.
She was orphaned
or at least
already.
She thought she was orphaned like 4 times.
Yeah, and then Godzilla, the literal embodiment of war, comes and almost takes her family again.
Yeah.
Like it's
the PTSD that child is going to have is going to be unreal.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just very like the two firsts for the Godzilla franchise came in this movie for me. Being jump scared by Godzilla and crying because of human characters.
I really liked though that like Akiko was basically what was the neighbor woman's name?
Sumiko.
She was like she really brought her back to life.
Yeah,
because she just felt like she was just giving up. But then by the end of the movie, she like had purpose again. Mm-hmm. She like really brought her back.
Yeah, because when we first meet her at the beginning of the movie, she's very like
despair,
done. Yeah, like she's pissed at Shikishima for coming back alive because he was a kamikaze pilot, and she wants nothing to do with him.
All her children are dead.
Yeah, all her whole family's dead, and then she's like, "Do you have a way to take care of this child? Are you able to take care of this child?"
No, but even in the middle though, once she started helping them, she was still really bitter. But it was like by the end, after like growing with Akiko and then like growing with their family, it was like she was just they brought her back to life, and I feel like you don't see that. Yeah. I mean, it was very believable though.
No, it is for sure.
Yeah. That's why I like the very small time jumps. I feel like it gave a very realistic time window for people to grow and like believably so. Where they still have, things that they're grappling with, but they've moved on just a little bit, and you can kind of see progression through the years. So, like, even like a year after, like how it goes through the montage of him like working on the boat and like getting his bike and like his house is, he's rebuilding his house. Like, it seems like he's rebuilding his life, but he's also still dealing with everything that he's been dealing with. And I feel like it's still believable because the time jump is so small. Like, it's just a year.
It's wild to think about that. It's only been a year too. God.
Yeah. I mean, there's when it comes to the humans and the human story, there is nothing that I do not like about it.
Wait.
Everything works for me.
Okay. Something that I was confused about. How come deep sea fish come up every time he's around?
I think it's just.
Are they stuck to him?
I don't know.
I'm confused because it's not like he's not coming up from the deep sea every time, is he?
Well, I thought about that too, Brian, but like we also see the deep sea fish pre-radiation.
Like they're every time they know he's coming, that's a telltale sign is that the deep sea fish rise and they're all dead, aren't they? Is that what it is? Is that he's just, there's so much radiation in the water that it's just killing all those?
Okay, well that's what I thought, but again, we see the deep sea fish pre-radiation,
and you don't
Odo.
see other kinds of animals coming up dead.
I don't know.
It's not like you see squids or like dolphins, sharks, none of that. It's always like just deep sea fish. So I'm like,
maybe it was just a cool touch. I don't know.
Maybe it's something to do with like his physiology we just don't understand.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, yeah, because it was a very specific kind of looking deep sea fish. I felt like wasn't it like they looked like. I
mean, Wikizilla literally has it listed under the monsters.
Do you know what they reminded me of? Is in Hellboy. No, don't laugh at me.
No,
you know what I'm talking about? That thing.
Yes,
that it's on him.
Oh my God, yes.
Every time I saw those, I was like, that just looks like the thing that comes back to life.
Wait, what?
What is he?
Samael.
Thank you. The little like egg things, the things that dispense the eggs. That's what those are.
Like when it wraps its tongue around his arm, and he's like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, and then like later you find out that he like put all the eggs inside his arm. Yeah, it reminded me of.
I knew exactly where you were going with that as soon as you said Hellboy.
Oh, good. I love Hellboy.
Good movie.
Anyway.
Okay, level with me, Brian. Only Brian, because Siobhan, you haven't seen the other movie I'm going to be
totally
referring to. I think this is going to be the case? Do you think this is going to top Shin Godzilla's atomic breath scene?
Yeah,
I think so too.
I think the atomic breath in this movie. I'm going to call it a heat ray. Honestly,
okay.
Because I think it is much more thematically relevant, and honestly, I am shocked it took them this long to make a movie where his breath acts like this.
Honestly, yeah. It's again like, 70 years later.
I think that I've kind of done some thinking about it recently, and everyone says that Godzilla is the embodiment of nuclear annihilation and destruction, or an embodiment to man's sins for dropping the damn thing. But I like to think now that if more than anything, Godzilla is a representation of war and conflict, because it's a much more it's a theme that you can bring more broadly. And I just think that him being so destructive and his breath being so just over the top, just literally being a nuke, it is the final stage of war at this point. There is no such thing as just little conflicts between small armies standing in a row. It is either your whole country is annihilated or you annihilate another country. That's it at this point. And that's what Godzilla is. He literally has the power to destroy an entire country with that fucking heat ray. It's a 1-to-1 to nukes. And I thought that it's just so insane that I think Shin Godzilla's breath was really cool, and I love that scene, don't get me wrong, but I think it hits much more on a thematic level, and I really appreciate that they used it sparingly in the movie. They only used it like 3 or 4 times maybe.
Well, that's the thing. I felt like he only used that when he felt like he had to. He mainly wanted to just cause physical destruction with himself. It wasn't until he got super fucking pissed. Exactly. Yeah, no, because he felt like he had to. He was just pissed.
Yeah.
But generally, he wanted to just walk around smashing shit, but I feel like that's what makes it classic Godzilla. That's what I picture Godzilla is always just smashing shit.
I absolutely love just the image of the giant ash cloud and Godzilla standing there, the aftermath at Ginza, and then you just have Shikishima just on the ground screaming.
Aftermath of Ginza, I want to mention that because Jacob brought up a really good point about this. They bring in the Black Rain.
Yeah, okay.
That's fucking insane. That's what was on.
Okay.
I knew exactly what it was when I saw it, and I honestly couldn't believe it.
Explain what that is to me, because I was trying to figure out what that was. I was like, is this blood? Is this because there was like soot? Like, explain to me what that is, as someone who doesn't know.
Black Rain is essentially it's essentially radioactive material that is shot up into the stratosphere, collecting in rain clouds and being rained back down.
Okay, so this is actually another question I had. Because these people have been around Godzilla during all this stuff now, do they technically have radiation exposure, as if a nuclear bomb went off?
That is the thing with the ending scene.
Well, they mentioned even after Ginza, they mentioned that
there were pieces, right? They were there's radioactive.
Yeah, they're talking about it's kind of like a total fallout.
No, but I'm
zone.
talking about so if that black rain was radioactive and that landed on his face and that was all over him, how come how come that wasn't concerning? You know what I mean? It was just we're just fine.
So the thing is with the black rain, it is very radioactive, but it's not it's not the same caliber of like standing right next to Godzilla or standing right next to an uncovered fission reactor.
But he was standing.
It's still gonna probably give you acute radiation
sickness. But he was
standing
right next to Godzilla, basically, when that happened.
Oh yeah, I guess he was.
He was literally like fairly close to him.
Not nearly as much as Noriko, though.
No, but
yeah. Actually, the entire aftermath of the Ginza attack was one of the many scenes I'm like, is this my favorite scene in the whole entire movie? Is this my favorite scene in the whole entire movie? I had a bunch listed here. All of them had question marks after them because I wasn't sure which one I wanted to go with immediately. But that was definitely like the immediate aftermath, like him looking for Noriko and like hearing the hope just leave his voice as he realizes like she is gone, and then that anguished scream when he realizes she is gone and he looks at Godzilla. Again, dude, fucking Kamiki. He is an insanely good actor.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, I don't remember if you and I had talked about it, but Noriko and Shikishima's actors, they're both in like a TV show together, which explains why their chemistry is so good.
Yeah, like, that was crazy.
Okay. It's gone on. It's like there's like 60 episodes or something, and they're both
gosh.
Like they're both in it like as co-stars together. So, yeah, kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Now I get. Wait, what the hell? Hold up. Minami Hamabe was also in Shin Kamen Rider this year.
Oh yeah, I found that out yesterday. She's like the main woman.
Holy shit! How did I not catch that?
Yeah, she was the emotionally distant lady. Yeah,
she's Ruriko. What the fuck?
Yeah,
I don't know how I missed that. Damn.
I just assumed you knew.
I didn't. I just found this out.
Oh my god.
Okay, cool.
Hell yeah.
Oh wait. Okay, so can we? Because I'm gonna be leaving.
Well, I guess I'll talk about my favorite scene if we're.
Hold on, wait.
I just really want to talk about when they exploded his fucking head. Like that was just.
Like when they finally kill him.
Yes.
It's very cool. It's a great scene because
I couldn't figure out what it was they were gonna do, and that was just it just looked the way he fell apart. Oh.
That was not expected. I was expecting him to like blow up, but no, the fact that he just like crumbled.
It reminded me of like kaiju in Pacific Rim, the way they just fall apart.
Well, they fall apart because they're just physically kind of torn apart.
No, I'm talking about like when you would watch a kaiju die, normally they would just like I felt like it would fall apart.
What do you mean?
Am I not? No, I'll find it. God, I always have to show you things, don't I?
Yeah, apparently. But no, I'm with you. It's a great, especially because like the lead up to that scene, like it's dead silent. Everyone's about to die. Every single character except for Shikishima is about to die, and then his plane comes around because we haven't seen him in the plane since he led Godzilla back out to sea. He's been absent for almost the entire climax. Again, dead silent, about to shoot off the ray. Straight into the mouth, and it's a split-second edit. You barely even see him eject from the plane. It is a literally blink if you miss it moment, and then boom,
so good.
Plane in the mouth, and then actual boom. Insane. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah. Everything about this.
His head popped like a popcorn kernel.
It really did.
Do you remember my theory as to what the laser light show coming out of him was?
Not off the top of my head.
I said that it kind of looks like all of like his internal radiation ionizing the air around him.
Yeah.
Yep. That's definitely what it was.
Like if I mean, you know, I'm the history person here. Like the Cherenkov effect. If you look at pictures of Chernobyl after it exploded, you can see just a giant beam of blue light going into the air. Mm-hmm. And that's literally the radioactive isotopes ionizing the air around it.
Science.
And it just goes up into space. And that's what I kind of think his body was doing.
I'm sure that was exactly the intent. And it's a cool as hell visual too.
It looks really, really cool. I mean, it doesn't look like accurate to what the Cherenkov effect is, but like I don't care. It looks cool.
It's Godzilla. It's not gonna be
it's Godzilla. I'm not gonna knock it for scientific accuracy. What I will commend this movie for is how is they pulled local fighter Shinden out, which is a real plane, a real prototype. And it looks unreal, but it is actually a real thing. And there is a bit of historical stuff behind it, which I can say, or if we want to leave it for later.
Do your thing.
Wait, I don't mean to Debbie Downer, but
all right. Well, I remember I was.
All right.
I think Brian messaged you about it.
Brian.
What?
I'm leaving.
Oh,
sorry. No,
it's okay.
You don't have to be sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't hear you. I still have issues hearing you. I'm sorry.
Can nobody hear me?
You should fix that,
I can hear you. There's nothing I can do.
I think it's.
I don't know.
I think it's just you, Brian.
Again, I can hear Siobhan fine, Brian.
Good.
So.
Thank you.
Okay.
Really, that's all that matters.
That's good at least.
All right. Well, thank you
I'll
for
come
joining
to Washington
us for
and talk to you then.
Most of this episode, Siobhan. We appreciate it.
Come back for joining. Yeah, come back soon for real.
Hopefully, we're having our New Year's Christmas special soon. You should come on for that.
Oh, okay. What do we do?
You missed the best episode, which was the Eight-Legged Freaks episode.
I know. Honestly, sorry.
I would have loved to have you on for Eight-Legged Freaks. I think you would have adored that movie.
I know. Well, we can still watch it. It's not like we can't enjoy it.
That's true. But
yeah, let me know.
We'll have you back on soon.
Happy to come back.
All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bye, Siobhan.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. It was an honor.
All right. Well, another thing I wanted to bring up, and like I had messaged you about this, Dave, because I was doing some just historical research because I was interested in how and how historically accurate they're aiming to be.
Translation, because you're a nerd.
Because I am a nerd and I love history. But not only was I very surprised that local fighter Shinden was a real plane that was made for the express purpose of shooting down bombers. The craziest thing was that according to, Wikipedia, which I checked the background sources and they seem to hold up pretty well, but it only flew a couple times, and it flew once on each day of the atomic bombings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it had a test flight on the day that Hiroshima had the nuke dropped on it, and also the day that Nagasaki had the nuke dropped on it, which is insane. Because you could argue that that the plane that he even flies at the end of the movie is a reference to the atomic bombings.
I would say I'm shocked that they didn't mention that, but they also don't really talk about the bombings in general.
Yeah, they really don't.
They only ever refer to the Tokyo fire bombings. They don't refer to Hiroshima or Nagasaki ever.
I do have a explanation to that.
Okay.
The one that makes sense to me. I know a lot of people probably won't buy it, but people forget that in 1947 and 45 through 47, communication was kind of hard. There was no internet. Any news took a long time to reach anybody. But the Japanese and most of the world didn't even know what the nuclear bomb was, even after it was dropped. They just thought it was a bomb. They had no idea. The common Japanese person had no idea the difference between a firebombing and a nuclear bomb. Obviously, the nuclear bomb was far more devastating and had far more far-reaching impacts and was clearly more destructive. But to the common person, it was just, apples and oranges, essentially.
Yeah.
And I feel like I think that it was pretty reasonable as to why people didn't really mention it, because people didn't really know about it all that much, because for one, the government was very secretive and the Americans were occupying the country at the time. So they probably didn't really want a whole lot of people talking about it. And also just the knowledge wasn't there. It's still a very new development, a very new weapon system. So that's my explanation. At least that works in my head.
Hey, that makes sense to me personally. So
yeah, and I do like how they still make sure that that Godzilla is a product from nuclear weapons. Like they show him getting nuked, and you see his face.
The Bikini Atoll test.
Also, holy shit. Seeing his face get burned up like that was metal as hell.
That was a big part. So I've already talked about the fact that we see his healing factor a lot. I love the fact that he himself gets injured from using his atomic breath, and he has to sit for a second to regenerate before using it again, and he just keeps getting damaged.
Honestly, I thought they should have gone even harder with it. I said it to you. I wish that it destroyed his face every time he used it.
I mean, the one of the coolest shots in the movie, and you see in the trailer, is right after he destroys the Takao and he rises up out of the water. He's totally burned, and he just roars into the sky. It's so cool. It's
it's really really good.
Brian, we're an hour and a half into this episode, and there's still so much I want to talk about. Fuck.
I know, dude. Honestly, I'm here for it if we want to cover it.
No, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. I'm just calling attention to it. I'm still down to keep going, man.
Oh yeah. I personally really love. It's not really him using his atomic breath, but I love how he looks after they surface him really quickly at the finale.
Oh my god!
And he's just he's just like this body horror, just disgusting meaty mass.
It's so gross,
and he's so gross, but he's so intimidating.
That's probably the scariest.
His eyes are popped out of his head.
That was a really nice touch. I didn't realize what that was on my first viewing. Then when I saw it again, I'm like, oh no, yeah, his eyes popped out of his skull because of the pressure change. That's what that is. That's disgusting.
It is disgusting. I think this is probably the best body horror scene in a Godzilla movie I've ever seen. I mean, really the only one you can compare it to is Shin Godzilla, but yeah,
that was definitely that to me felt like another big reference to 1954, that final shot of him after when they launched the oxygen destroyer, when he surfaces and roars in anguish before finally sinking back below the waves. That's what that felt like to me.
Something I was thinking about with how they killed Godzilla, it's actually really very reminiscent of the oxygen destroyer, the bubbles and him rapidly sinking. And I just I love how it still wants you to have those feelings and is trying to kind of call back to that, but it's its own thing. It's not just straight up reusing the oxygen destroyer.
Yeah,
I really love that. I think that's a great way to reference something without it being obnoxious.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of direct references to the movie, mostly during the Ginza scene. There's that scene in the train where I would have to go back to look at it, but the shot when you're seeing the train conductors, I'm pretty sure that's a 1-to-1 shot recreation from the 1954 original. And then you see him pick up the train in his teeth like he does in the original, and then there's the reporters on top of the building, reporting on his attack while he's walking by them. That's another great one. There's a lot of
even the radio report that we hear right before it cuts to Ginza, it sounds very much like the radio report from the original.
It really does.
Down to the mixing and the way that they made it sound like it's from an old radio. I leaned over to Sam and I was just that sounds exactly like from the original.
Has Sam seen the original?
No, I haven't shown it to her yet, but I did say to her that now it's time.
You got to show her now.
I think you have to. Yeah. I mean, it seems like she's much more into the serious ones, like I am.
Right.
I mean, she really didn't like many of the MonsterVerse ones aside from Skull Island. And
what I noticed?
Godzilla 2014,
which is weird. I'm surprised this didn't make the movie.
What?
So when the trailer dropped, everyone was going nuts over the line, "That monster will never forgive us." And then the line's not even in the movie.
Dude, I actually realized that. I realized it on my first viewing, and I thought about it. I'm like, well, maybe I missed it or something. Maybe I was like looking away. And then, and I didn't want to message you about it just because I didn't want to seem like a dumbass if I had just missed it. And then I went back and we watched it for round 2 last Friday, and I'm like, oh, that line isn't even in the movie. Not even in the movie. Line goes hard as fuck, dude.
Such a cool line, and it's not even. That's so wild to me that they didn't include that line because everyone, honestly, when that trailer, everyone's like, "That's such a cool fucking line," but no, it's not even in the movie. It's insane.
And it's in the scene where he's like pleading with Tachibana to help him, and like it would have fit perfectly if they kept it in there.
It would have.
I don't know why they cut it.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's wild.
Because that was probably the most impactful line to me seeing that first trailer. I'm like, holy shit! Like that fucking goes hard. Like, yeah. I mean, it was very clear what they were going for. I really wish they had kept it in there. It's probably the one thing that I would change about the movie.
Yeah.
Honestly.
All right, so I have a couple more notes I want to go over until we talk about like all the ending stuff.
All right.
I liked the fact that Plan B for Watatsumi is just okay. Let's just give him the bends.
Yeah. Actually, about the plan, I actually really liked how like they had a loose plan, but they kind of just winged it for a lot of it.
They really did.
Know? Like the main scientist, I forget his name. Like they were remember they were like all at like, you know, eating food and stuff, like, and they were talking about the plan, and oh my god, and Akitsu was just like, so your plan has a lot of holes in it, huh? And then Noda's just like, no. Even though you're just like, yeah, this guy is like, he's trying his best, you know?
Yeah.
But it's also like you can't really come up with a plan to fight that.
You really
like
can't.
There's no like I really like how they kind of like hinted like that, like it's just like you can't really come up with a solid plan to defeat him. You kind of just have to hope for the best. And just also another thing, one of the scenes that I love the most, that is probably up there in my favorite scenes, is the meeting with all like the ex-Navy veterans, like going over the like, and they're all meeting and like they're being shown the anti-Godzilla plan. And the interaction after a bunch of them had left because they're like, I have a family, and that one guy who's just like, is this plan certain death? And you have Noda saying absolutely not, and he's just like, well then it beats wartime. And I'm just like, that is such a good line. Like I adore that.
Similar to that, I adore the scene right before they go into Operation Watatsumi, where Noda's like, you know, this country has been very, very cheap with life. This is going to be one that we have no human casualties. We are all coming back from this.
And they didn't. It was awesome.
I know. It was so, oh my god.
Like I was like genuinely like concerned for everybody. I really thought that they were gonna have a part where like a bunch of people were gonna die.
I know.
Because it just seemed like a certainty. But then they pulled out a win with no casualties, and I was like, I was the first time I've ever been so relieved for people in these movies.
Oh my god.
Like it's so insane how like I was hoping so hard for them.
Hey Brian, you want to just stop recording and just go see the movie again?
Honestly,
that's kind of how I'm feeling right now.
How about you fly out here? We'll go see Godzilla.
All right, cool. Sounds good. I mean, hey, I got tickets to see it on, this coming Wednesday. If you want to fly out here.
I don't have money right now.
Damn. All right, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
What else?
I'm definitely going to see around 3 though.
All right, cool. So,
yeah.
This was just kind of a weird, funny nitpick. When Noda is explaining the plan in that first meeting, and he's going to Plan B, why does like the big inflatable look less real than Godzilla himself does?
I don't know. It
like,
was kind of weird.
It just looked so strange. Like it was just so very clearly CGI, but then Godzilla looked very, very real. I was like, how did that happen exactly?
I mean, it's probably because a lot of the effort went to Godzilla.
That's
and like
true. That's very true.
You know, they probably were just like, this looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go make sure Godzilla looks fucking stellar for the rest of the movie now. Like But for the most part, there were like no bad effects. There was like one time. There was probably like one time in the whole movie where I'm just like, there's a green screen there.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Absolutely incredible that the movie looks as good as it does.
And only on for $15 million. That's fucking nothing in the film industry.
I looked it up last night. Godzilla vs. Kong was like 200 mil, and Godzilla X Kong is probably going to be 300 mil, maybe.
Mm-hmm. I don't
know. Assuming they have a budget increase.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, insane how little money that this movie was made for, and it looks that good.
I have heard a lot of people say that it's because of like Japan doesn't really have like the star kind of system where so like people like everybody on every single chain of production for the movie is kind of paid the same.
Okay.
From what I've heard. But I have heard that it's mainly because wages are just so much lower in Japan than they are here.
Okay.
Which is why a lot of like VFX for Hollywood is outsourced to like Japan and other countries.
Gotcha.
Because it's cheaper to produce.
Makes sense.
And like a lot of the money for the big Hollywood movies goes towards the actors, which I find stupid personally, but you know, if they want to argue with me, come at me. Anyways, yeah.
Something you mentioned that I appreciated a lot more on my second go around was the dynamic between Tachibana and Shikishima.
Oh yeah, that probably was my favorite relationship in the whole movie.
Out of a movie with so many fantastically developed relationships, that's saying something.
I just love I love how like they have such a complicated relationship with each other, and Shikishima like clearly really wants to redeem himself to Tachibana and just fucking throws everything at the wall to try to get back in touch with him. And just like him really trying his hardest to just make it all up to him. And I really, really appreciated just how like nuanced that relationship was. And the payoff at the end when you see that Tachibana just begged for him to not die after he saw that he does have something to live for, and that, you know, and hearing Shikishima say that he wants to protect Akiko's future. Like it was such a well done dynamic, and I just really appreciated how nuanced it felt and how real and raw it felt.
And that look of relief.
It's clear that they're, the look of relief on the like when he was at the radio.
Yeah,
like,
when he hears confirmation that Koichi survived is
It's that like sad, like the very sad, silent but happy cry. You know?
For sure.
Where you're just so happy everything worked out in the best case scenario. It was just so heartwarming. And, you know, I really appreciate how like they still do have a very rocky friendship or relationship together. Like obviously there's still a lot of resentment, and Tachibana still has a lot of issues that he's working on. But it's just nice to see that at the end they work together and they're happy that they live, you know?
Yeah.
I really, really love that. I think it was so good.
All right, that about wraps up from my notes. Do we want to talk about all the weird end stuff?
Yeah, I'll talk about all the weird end stuff.
What the fuck is going on with Noriko's neck?
I think she has acute radiation sickness.
She has Godzilla.
Personally,
she has Godzilla disease.
I saw a bunch of weird theories that she's got some weird like Godzilla sickness, or like some of Godzilla's like genetic material like got like fused with her or something, and that's all bullshit. I think she just has acute radiation sickness.
I don't know. I feel like but it really looked like that scarring was in the shape of one of his fins, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
And I can't. That has to be intentional.
But you could also look at it from the angle that Godzilla's a radioactive monster, and he is the embodiment of nuclear annihilation and war. And she's branded by that.
That's true. You know what? I kind of like that take too. I actually really like
acute
that
radiation
take.
sickness.
Yeah,
and like ARS, it is a horrible disease to have. Like, this might make the ending more bittersweet with this knowledge, but like, it destroys your body, and your blood turns black, which is what I thought.
I mean,
like,
the movie's ending is already bittersweet because it ends with the confirmation that Godzilla's still alive.
Yeah,
it's already bittersweet enough as is.
But like in my head, I was both of those ending confirmations that Godzilla's dead and that Noriko's alive, but she's obviously sick.
Yeah,
I think that you have your happy ending, but it also shows that Godzilla, and therefore the embodiment of conflict, he's never really gone. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be another battle to fight. There's always going to be another war that happens, and there's always going to be more annihilation. And therefore, with Noriko, there's always going to be people that have to live with the consequences. Civilians and children, and it's. I really think that was an intentional decision to make, trying to show that conflict can never really be beaten. Like humanity always has this dark side to itself, and that's why Godzilla is going to be ever prevalent. So his messaging will never be irrelevant in my head.
So my question to you now is, do you think we're going to get a direct sequel to this?
I don't know.
I think if Yamazaki wants to do one, we're going to get one. But it's on him.
Yeah, I think if Yamazaki wants to make one, and he brings the same team in, maybe not the same characters, maybe we can get a different perspective. As long as he brings his absolutely spectacular character work along with him, I have faith that he'll make a great movie.
Well, here's the thing,
but at
Brian.
the same time, I just don't want it to have a sequel for sequel's sake.
I don't know if you saw this. He talked about wanting to do a movie. Did you see what he said he wanted to do next? Well, not necessarily next, just in general.
No.
He said he wants to do a Star Wars movie.
Okay.
And honestly, I would be so there for that.
With that.
It would probably be like the best Star Wars thing we've gotten since, I don't know.
I mean, if anything, Star Wars desperately needs a new voice and tone.
It needs a kick in the pants for sure.
It fucking needs it. Like, honestly, I thought Godzilla needed it for a bit.
And I think Godzilla got it.
And we got it big time.
Yeah. So listen, if Disney and Lucasfilm have the fucking balls for it, I think he could probably give us one of the best Star Wars movies of all time.
Well, here's the thing, though, is like, obviously this movie has gotten an incredible, like, better than we could have ever hoped for reception here in the West.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, and I honestly think it's going to be nominated for like either Best Foreign Film or Best Picture. With the that exposure, like, nothing's impossible.
Toho, I think, would be idiotic to not at least campaign for an Oscar nomination.
Oh yeah,
with how universally loved this film has been from fans and non. There are people who couldn't give less of a shit about Godzilla going to see this.
My sister isn't even in the same ballpark as Godzilla fan.
Exactly,
and she loved it. Yeah. She loved it.
Both screenings I've gone to have been packed. Word of mouth is traveling about this movie, and I could not be happier. You know what? I'm gonna bring up a post that Matt Frank made earlier today because it really struck a chord. All right, I'm just gonna, it's a little long, but it's not super long, so I'm just gonna read it word for word. Growing up in the 80s and 90s, the sentence, "I'm a Godzilla fan," was utterly meaningless outside of a very tight-knit group of people. It was the equivalent of saying to someone, "hot dog lawnmower on the Russian parapet." It only served to short-circuit the neurons in someone's brain, and if you tried to explain it, it perhaps made even less sense. Nowadays, in our content-drenched pop culture landscape where every market has been found and is being mined incessantly, and nothing will likely to go out of style entirely, the kaiju genre with Godzilla leading the charge is almost certainly more popular than ever. There's a conversation to be had about how much of this is a good or bad thing. It's especially easy to become mired in the cynical and frankly realistic worldview that this is all just bread and circus, amalgamated drivel being shoved into our collective proletarian mouths, the capitalistic machine of our corporate hellscape quarrying our favorite institutions for the best materials, ravenously consuming the genre until little is left but a hollowed out lizard corpse. And to quote Dr. Reagan Ridley, this is of course all while the world fucking burns. And yet, that younger version of Matt, who desperately wanted to share the things he loved with other people, literally one of my strongest love languages, and yet was punished repeatedly for it, literally told no one would love him because he enjoyed movies about rubber suit reptiles smashing miniatures with anti-war, anti-capitalist, anti-pollution undertones, that little version of Matt is definitely feeling a lot of love today, so perhaps there's some good to be had there.
Dude, I fucking absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree with that.
The fact that we have so many people showing up for this movie it's incredible. It makes me so happy.
It just really goes to show that like all you really need to do is just make a really good movie.
Yeah.
Just really, really good, and it will find an audience.
Yeah. It's that easy.
And like and I don't understand how studios here just don't understand that. There's so much schlock that comes out.
Yeah.
And then you just have a movie like this, and it just hits you on so many levels. It hits you on spectacle. It hits you on characters. It makes you feel something. It has really important messaging. And it struck a chord with a lot of people. A lot of people who didn't care about Godzilla. And, like, that's all you needed to do. You just needed to make a story that people will care about that has Godzilla in it.
It's really insane to me that like 70 years later we got a movie this good.
Yeah.
Like we shouldn't have gotten a movie this good 70 years later.
No.
It's inconceivable almost. Like this is the 37th movie in this franchise. Who would have thought the 37th movie of a franchise, any franchise, would hit this hard and be this successful?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, I thought that like Shin Godzilla was gonna be like probably the best newest one.
Mm-hmm.
But for a lot of people, Shin Godzilla is a hard pill to swallow.
It is.
It's a very uniquely Japanese movie. It is a political satire about Japan, and I've shown that movie to a lot of people, and it's just, for us, like, we can get into it because we understand. But for the typical audience, like, it's kind of out of their wheelhouse. But for Minus One, they made this story that is still uniquely Japanese, but it is accessible enough for everybody to understand it and connect with the characters.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good balance of keeping its national identity, but also opening it for audiences that aren't familiar with it. And I fucking love how well done it is. It honestly, I said this to you, it's put me in such a great mood recently. I just have a huge fucking smile on my face like anytime I hear about it or anytime I talk about it with anybody.
I think it's safe to say that, and I'm going to speak for you here, Brian. I don't think either of us have stopped thinking about this movie since we first saw it.
I haven't. To be honest with you, I really haven't.
I have not.
You could ask Sam. Like every hour maybe I talk to her about something Godzilla related. Yeah.
God, dude.
Well,
I don't even know what else to say at this point, but like, if you haven't seen it, I don't know why you're even listening to this show, because what? Go fucking see it, dude. What are you doing? Yeah. Why'd you listen to 2 hours of us spoil this movie without seeing it?
If you've seen it, go see it again.
Yeah, go see it again. Fuck. We really need. I would be shocked if Toho does not extend the release for this, because they're just leaving money off the table. They really are.
We were talking about it. I mean, it had a bigger opening in the States than it did in Japan.
It did, yeah. What the hell was it? It was like it was opened with 11 million here. I think it was like 7 million in Japan for opening weekend.
Something like that.
Yeah. And already Godzilla has already become the biggest opening weekend for any foreign film in the States.
That's crazy to me. Do you remember the buzz when Parasite came out?
I know. That is wild. That is so fucking wild. Like I think the Demon Slayer movie was the previous record holder, and then Godzilla beat it by about $1 million, I think. Which is not much, but still the fact that the biggest opening for a foreign film in the United States is a Godzilla film.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's so crazy. That's so like
this.
2023. 2023 is the year of Godzilla for me.
Like this, I never expected the release of this movie to be so goddamn cathartic, but here we are.
I straight up expected to go to that Wednesday early fan screening and to be the only people in the theater, but
really?
There were a lot of people, like a lot. Because remember, I don't really live in a huge.
That's
city.
true. Yeah.
You know, I live in a Bellingham is big, but it's pretty spread out, and there's not a ton of people. But there were a lot. There was a lot more people than I had even anticipated being there.
It was funny. So a couple days before the screening, like I was talking to my family and my sister. I can't remember if it was my sister or my mom, but one of them joked like, "Oh, we could all go see it as a family," because we watched Godzilla vs. Kong when it came out as a family. Because as a kid, I was obsessed with Godzilla, and so my entire family had to kind of watch Godzilla every so often. Mostly my mom and my dad. I can't remember my sister really sitting down to watch that with us, but I told him like, "Oh no, I looked like our theater is pretty much entirely booked out. That is not happening." And then of course I got home from the first viewing and I told her like, that's not really a family movie. It's not a fun movie. It's a good movie for sure, but it's not a movie that you like sit down with your family to have a grand old time. It's depressing.
It's much more of a sit there and think about it.
Exactly. But
yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I should probably say my favorite scene.
Oh yeah, you haven't even done that yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned it, but my favorite scene in the whole entire movie was the boat scene, starting with Akitsu going like never mind, let's leave.
Never mind, let's go.
and then ending with Godzilla blowing up the Takao from underwater.
Yeah.
Again. I just thought that the whole progression of that scene, just the horror of this giant monster swimming behind them with those glaring eyes, just wanting to kill them, and then them blowing him up, being like, "Did we do it?" And then your heart sinks when you see his face just reform in an instant, and then it's just you get just the oh shit, he's pissed, and then you get the savior, the Takao, come in to attacking him, and you're like, okay, maybe everything's gonna be okay, and then you get that switch where you're like, oh no,
yeah.
And then it just ends, and it's just tragic. You're like, oh my god, like what, like how do you, like if that boat can't kill him, then like what the fuck else can they even try?
Yeah,
like it's like just I loved that, just the build up to that whole scene culminating in the huge explosion and Godzilla rising up after that, just burning and just looking just so angry, and then just swimming away, completely having forgotten why he was there in the first place. Like it's so incredible. It's such a well done scene. And Sam's favorite scene is actually the same, except it's just when Godzilla is chasing after the little boat. She really loves his head just peeking up out of the water because she said it looked cute.
when I saw it for the second time, I was like, all right, yeah, he's a cute little dude in that.
Did you see that they had built like a little like miniature statue of that for like the Japanese red carpet premiere?
I did see that. Yeah.
I showed that to Sam. She loved it. I was like, I want to buy this for you.
Might be a little expensive, but
oh yeah, it's a little unaccessible.
Yeah.
For a normie like me. So good.
Man.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Damn, we're about 2 hours.
Until viewing 3, that's all I've got.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going Wednesday. Well, maybe. I don't know. I was supposed to go with Crystal, and then she ended up having to work that day, so I don't know if I'll probably go. I'm gonna see if I can. I don't like going to the movies by myself though, so I'm gonna try to find someone else. We'll see.
Dude, you know how I know that like this movie is so good? It's because Sam is down to see it with me just about as many times as I feel like.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's saying something.
Like I was like, viewing 2. She's like, all right, yeah, I'll go. And then I was like, do you want to go see it a third time? And she's like, yeah.
Oh hell yeah, dude. Let's fucking go.
Let's go. Yeah.
Oh,
it's so good. I mean, she probably won't see it with me forever. She'll probably, want to take a break from it, but I love that. It's great. All right. Well,
yeah. Let's.
We should move on to the last segment here. Keep it brief too.
What the hell? What new cool kaiju thing are we checking out? Minus One. Minus One.
Minus One.
That's what we've been checking out.
Yeah, I mean that's been really the biggest thing I've been just excited for. Really, it's been hard for me to be into really anything else.
Yeah.
I've been keeping up with Monarch.
Monarch's been great so far. I'm really excited to review that once it wraps next month because that'll be really fun.
How many more episodes do we have? Is it 8 or is it?
I think it's a total of 8 episodes, so we're halfway through.
Okay. Because I mean, so far I really, really love all the character work.
Yeah, no, that was
Kurt Russell is a fucking just an absolute gem. I love him.
He's having such a good time.
He's having a great time. And
I think he's a fan because he did some interview or something, and it was like he was talking about like when he got the script and he was like, they want me to do Godzilla, like Godzilla. Like, can I actually like do this? Like, he just seemed like really like excited to do a Godzilla property, and it's like I'm glad Kurt Russell himself is excited about doing a Godzilla property as we are about Kurt Russell doing a Godzilla property.
Yeah, man. I love that. I'm glad he's a huge fan.
Which makes me really even more so want a Godzilla property from John Carpenter, knowing that he and Kurt Russell are both fans.
God, I would give my life for that movie.
Honestly, same.
Oh my God, you can shave 10 years off my lifespan if we get that.
I'm actually curious now. I'm going to look at John Carpenter's Twitter. I wonder if he's seen Minus One yet. He must have seen Minus One.
He's got to have seen it. He's gotta.
He hasn't uploaded anything on Twitter. Oh no, he retweeted something 3 days ago, but he hasn't said anything about Minus One. I'm shocked. I really want to know what his thoughts on the movie. I would love to hear his thoughts.
You should tweet at him at the Talking Toku handle and see if he responds.
I could do that. The Talking Toku handle that I haven't touched in months.
Yeah, and then if he responds to you, you'd be like, "Hey, do you want to go on the podcast and talk about it?"
Well, it's funny. So here in town where we record, Melrose, Massachusetts, Beetlejuice 2 was shooting here a couple weeks ago.
I've been telling everybody I can about that shit.
Really, that's funny. It's
so funny.
For those of you who don't know, Tim Burton is one of those people in Hollywood who have cited The War of the Gargantuas as one of the reasons he got into filmmaking. I don't know why War of the Gargantuas has some weird hold over Hollywood, because I don't really count Guillermo del Toro, because he said it too, but because like Guillermo del Toro, everything monsters.
He's based as fuck.
Everything, nothing he says surprises me. But like Brad Pitt has also cited that movie as a reason he got into acting. Yeah, right. What? I know.
Brad Pitt of all people.
Brad Pitt, Quentin Tarantino, which that one makes a little more sense. But still,
I can see Tarantino being into that.
War of the Gargantuas, I don't know why it has such a hold on Hollywood. Maybe it's because Russ Tamblyn was in it, and he was at the time he was like a famous Hollywood actor. I don't know.
That might be it.
I don't know. It's just, but yeah, like I was like, oh, I should go down to the set, see if like Tim, come on my podcast, we'll talk about Godzilla.
You'd be escorted out so fast.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, I would.
You get something in the mail, you have a restraining order against Tim Burton now.
Honestly, I would wear that as a badge of honor.
Yeah, that's funny.
Have I been checking? I watched Jaws: The Revenge.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I remember you texted me about that.
I felt absolutely nothing.
I just remember that was oh my god, old guy's name.
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine. My favorite thing is when he was asked about that movie, he was just like, I was in that.
No, it was, I haven't seen it, but the house that it paid for is a very nice house.
Oh yeah. That was, I think that I was in that was for something else.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I'm just about done rereading Jurassic Park. I know we had talked briefly about doing one of those book to movie comparison episodes for that. I don't know if that's.
Ooh, I'm down. I just watched Jurassic Park not
cool.
long ago.
All right,
so
now all you gotta do is read the book and we'll be good. Because Siobhan said she was down. I mentioned it to her a couple days ago. Again, I'm almost done with the book. I'm probably gonna finish it tonight. We'll see. I have like 6 chapters left, but they're relatively short chapters. We'll see. So there's that, and I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I've been watching. I finally started the new season of Prehistoric Planet.
Oh hell! Oh, that's another one. You talk about Prehistoric Planet, then I'll talk about mine.
I mean, I haven't finished it. I just started watching it a bit because I was getting back into Jurassic World Evolution. And I mean, it's just more of the same. I love it.
It is just
I just cannot believe how good they made the dinosaurs look.
I know, it's insane.
Like, I really wish that they, like, at some point maybe they'd release like a behind the scenes doc to see their process.
I love that. Yeah,
I would be all over that shit if they released that. Like, it just looks so uncanny. It looks really, really good. And I really, really love the new episodes. I was kind of concerned that maybe they'd run out of biomes to cover, but nah. They have that shit covered.
Yeah. I mean, I almost feel like they were not running out of biomes, but like they kind of just were winging it after a certain point. Like spoiler alert, but like the last episode of season 2 was just North America.
Oh,
that's not.
I haven't gotten that.
That's not really a biome.
Nah.
But, I don't care. They can keep doing it as much as they want.
Currently, I'm on episode 5
of season 2.
Yeah.
Well, that's North America.
Oh, well, actually, I'm right at the end of episode 4.
Oh, okay.
So sorry, but yeah. I mean, I like it. It's good shit.
No, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and then I'm just gearing up for the continuation of fucking Camp Cretaceous.
Oh,
so
dude.
Excited.
I can't wait for that episode.
I'm just gonna be watching so much dinosaur shit. I'm just so excited about it. I might try and convince Sam to watch Camp Cretaceous with me.
Oh. Are you gonna rewatch the entirety of Camp Cretaceous before the sequel comes out?
Dude, if she wants to, I'd watch. Like, I would only watch it if she's down to watch it.
Of course.
I'd probably put it on in the background and like kind of half pay attention to it.
Right.
Because I already know everything that happens, but
okay.
Yeah. I'm so psyched. And the other thing.
Wait.
What?
Are you fucking for real?
What?
How did we not know this?
What?
Brian.
Is it out already?
No, Brian. Jenna Ortega voices Brooklyn.
What? All right, well, that is a very easy way for me to get Sam to watch it. Hold on. Is this from just Camp Cretaceous?
Yes!
Like, what the fuck?
How did we not know this?
Wow. I have no idea.
What the fuck?
Really? She... So funny! That's so funny! Wow.
I am like flabbergasted right now. I did not know Jenna Ortega was Brooklyn. What the fuck?
That's so funny.
Oh my god.
I'm honestly kind of like just thinking maybe we knew it and we forgot.
I don't know. I don't think we would have.
It's such a I can't believe that. What the fuck?
We never once paid attention to the cast, Brian. Never did we never paid attention to the cast.
I think we had just assumed that they were just like
jobbers.
You know, yeah, essentially. I hate to say it, but yeah. Wow. Is Jenna Ortega just a huge Jurassic Park fan?
Maybe.
She might just be huge into dinosaurs.
Oh, fuck, I hope so.
Damn.
Wow. Just another reason to like...
She's in town, so you can go ask her, Dave.
Oh, no, they finished filming.
Oh, that's right. Well,
yeah.
You could have gone to...
I could have.
And then you'd have 2 restraining orders against you.
Hey, do you also want to come on my podcast?
Oh my! You like dinosaurs? Which one's your favorite?
Dude, if we were to get Jenna Ortega on the show to ask about nothing but Camp Cretaceous, that would have been the funniest fucking thing we have ever done in this show.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you're in Scream? Sure. You're in X? Okay. You're Wednesday Addams? Good for you. Oh, you're in Beetlejuice? Who the fuck cares? Tell me about Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous.
I think having her on the show would be the only context I would ever be able to get Sam to record with us.
I think you're right.
Like, holy shit. That's so funny.
That's insane.
That's our revelations this episode.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, well, I guess we'll move on. I mean, that's all I'm checking out really. Oh, yeah. The Giga Bash DLC is pretty cool.
Oh, I haven't touched it actually.
I played a little bit with Alien Bolton. He's cool.
Nice.
I like his big chomper arm things.
His big meaty claws.
His big meaty claws are pretty cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm done. We're well over the 2-hour mark now. I
think people probably knew that it's going to be this long.
Yeah, like if you weren't expecting it, if you were expecting anything like sub an hour 30, I don't know what the hell you were on. You were on something.
Yeah.
I'll quickly go over my usual Kaiju United thing just to see what's going on. Guess what? There's at least 2 reviews of Godzilla Minus One. One of which is a spoiler review, one of which is not. There is a review of the first 2 issues of Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. I still need to get issue 2 of that. That's another thing I checked out.
I've been listening to I forgot the YouTube channel, but basically just they read the comic to you. It's like a comic like audiobook. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool actually. It's a cool story. I like it.
Okay.
Like the way that they get the Titans there is pretty cool actually.
Yeah. Again, I've only read the first issue, but so I like the setup. Yeah. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And the scene and like the image of just Superman just having the shit beat out of him and then just Godzilla in the back. It's so good.
Oh, and the biggest thing that Kaiju United is doing, Kaiju United has a new podcast featured, and it's not featured. It's their own podcast.
Hell yeah.
Lingo talked about when he was on the show a while ago. He talked about wanting to have like the official Kaiju United podcast, and that's happening. It's Kaiju United Town Hall.
Yeah. I guess it's only really happening when they have like big stuff to talk about,
like Minus One.
Like Minus One. So obviously there's an episode now, and probably the next one's going to be after Monarch ends.
I think Jacob messaged us about it. I think
that's right, he did.
Yeah. What did he say? I don't know.
He said
yeah, next episode will be when Monarch concludes. So yeah.
So it seems like they're going to have a less regular schedule than us, but I mean, it's hell yeah, the more the better.
Yeah, I'm happy for them. I can't wait to hear, because they have a pretty decent lineup for their Minus One episode, so I'm really excited to hear what they have to say about it. And
hey, you know what? Your boys may be featured on there.
There's
someday.
A very good chance we will be featured on there at some point. I'd love to be.
I would love to be on there. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to go home and think more about Godzilla Minus One.
I'm gonna go talk to Sam and get her to watch Camp Cretaceous with me.
All right, yeah. Please tell me what her reaction is, because you have been very transparent about how much you love Jenna Ortega. So I want to know what her reaction. No, you know what you should do, Brian? You should try to convince her to watch it without telling her, and then once she watches an episode, you've got to be like, hey, you know who voices her?
No, but I don't think she's going to want to unless I say who it is.
Try your best, and then if when all else fails, that's your trump card.
All right, that's okay. All right, that's my reverse Uno card for her.
Yeah.
All right, I got it.
All right, sounds good. Keep me apprised of the situation.
I'll update all of you next episode on how it goes.
All right. And speaking of next episode, Brian, for our holiday special this year, which isn't really a holiday special, it's our end of the year special, and I don't know why, but it felt right to do it at the end of the year. We're covering one of your favorite movies, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
What are we covering, Brian?
Sky Captain.
Goddamn right we are.
One of the best movies ever made, in my opinion.
I'm excited to see it. I don't know the last time I saw it was definitely at your house, but I don't know how long ago that was. So
I watch it at least like once a year.
Really?
No, at most once a year. I don't like to overwatch it.
Okay, yeah.
We had a whole conversation.
Yeah.
We'll get into it next time.
Yeah, we just actually record a whole second episode right now on Sky Captain.
Just prepare yourselves. It's gonna be a long one.
Do you think it'll be longer than Minus One?
Probably not.
Okay,
but
probably not.
It's gonna be long. Yeah. We'll see.
It's going to be like 1 second shorter than this episode.
It's going to be 2 hours instead of 2.5 hours.
Yeah, okay. That works.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Go follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, all at Talking Toku. Go check out Kaiju United, both their Facebook group and their Discord server, and also check out our Discord server. Come on in. We don't do a whole lot, but that's only because no one really does anything. We're lonely.
Yeah.
Come join us, please.
Mm-hmm.
I need the social interaction.
Well, we should probably just start advertising it more.
Well, there's that too. But yeah, go watch Godzilla Minus One.
Yeah, do it again. Watch it several times.
Granted, by the time this episode comes out, it might not be in theaters anymore, depending on Toho's choices, but we'll see. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks to cover Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow. Is it in the World of Tomorrow? And the World of Tomorrow.
Sky Captain and the World.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys then, and that'll be our last episode of 2023.
Fucking crazy.
Goodness.
It's almost over.
Thank God.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys. Take it easy.
Bye.